Hello everyone, we meet again. Today I'm gonna talk about New Year's resolutions. Have you ever made a New Year's resolutions? I know I have. Every year, it feels exciting to think about new start, right? We tell ourselves this year will be different, right? We will get in shape, start that passion project, or finally kick that bad habit we have been holding on to for years. We feel confident, hopeful, or ready to take on anything as New Year begins. It's like a blank page where everything feels possible. But let's be honest for a second. How many of us can truly say we stuck with those resolutions? How many of us, just a few weeks or months in, find ourselves slipping back into old habits? The gym membership gets forgotten. The diet plan is abandoned. And the dream project is still just a dream. It feels like a cycle we all go through year after year, right? We start with so much motivation and hope, but then reality sets in. We start asking ourselves, what happened? Why did we give up so soon? Why do we keep failing? You are not alone if this has happened to you. It happens to most of us. And you are not the only one who has fallen victim to this cycle. And the worst part, we have all been there enough times to know that it's going to happen again unless we make a change. It's like we were stuck in this loop where excitement fades, motivation starts to dwindle, and before we know it, we were right back where we started. So why does this happen? What are we missing? Why is it that no matter how hard we try, no matter how determined we are in the beginning, we always seem to fall back into our old patterns? And more importantly, how do we break free from this cycle of failure once and for all? How can we stop this from being a recurring part of our lives? How do we transform not just our actions, but our very mindset, so that success isn't a fleeting moment, but something that lasts? Now, I want to make one thing clear from the start. This video isn't about quick fixes. This isn't another one of those motivational speeches telling you to just do it, or that you are one step away from greatness. Because let's be real, if it were that easy, we would all have changed by now, right? No, I want to talk about today something much deeper. I want to talk about true change, kind of change that goes beyond just setting goals and feeling motivated for weeks. This kind of change is lasting. It starts from within. It's a kind of change that doesn't fade after a few setbacks. The kind of change that becomes a part of who you are and radiates outward into every part of your life. This is about understanding why we fail, why we fall into our old habits, and how we can finally break the cycle of self-sabotage. It's about making success inevitable. It's about setting up systems, habits, and mindsets that ensure that we don't just start something and then abandon it, but that we follow through to create real, lasting transformation in our lives. So if you have ever wondered why you can't seem to keep up with your own resolutions, or why your changes don't last, you are in the right place. We are going to break down the real reasons behind our struggles with change. And I'm going to give you the tools and insight to finally make those changes stick. Because the truth is, if we can learn to address the root causes of our failures, then we can make true change not just possible but inevitable. New Year's resolutions are a perfect example of how we get stuck in the cycle of hope and disappointment. This is my year, we say, and then we set grand resolutions. Lose 20 pounds, start a side business, or wake up earlier, or whatever it is. The problem, however, it's not the goal itself, it's the way we approach it. Most of us start with motivation, which is great, but motivation alone isn't enough to sustain long-term change. Motivation is like a fuel for a car. It's powerful at the start, but without a clear destination and a plan to get there, it's easy to run out of gas. This is why most resolutions fail. They lack real structure, accountability, and most importantly, a deeper connection to who we are and why we want to change in the first place. I remember a few years ago, as the new year was approaching, I felt so enthusiastic, really. I set all these big goals for myself and made plans what I had to do. I even promised myself, no matter what happened, I will keep pushing forward, no matter how hard it got. I was determined, almost to a point where I felt like I couldn't fail. But just 3 weeks later, I felt reluctant to try anymore. And I felt inadequate, confused, and unsure of what to do. And eventually, it just slipped back into my old habits. Why does this happen? Because we are trying to change our behavior without addressing the deeper reasons we do what we do. Change isn't just about doing something new. It's about changing the way you think, feel, and act. You need to look beyond the superficial goal and ask yourself, why do I want this? What's the deeper motivation behind my actions? Here is the harsh truth. True change doesn't come from external circumstances. It doesn't come from getting a new job, moving to a new city, or changing your environment. All of those things can be important, but they won't fix what's really wrong side. You can change where you live, what you do for work, or even the people you surround yourself with. But if you haven't changed internally, you will find yourself falling into the same pattern. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself that if only you were in a different situation, your life will be better? If only you had a better job, more money, or the perfect partner. These things can definitely improve your life, but they cannot change the way you think and behave on the inside. You cannot outrun your own internal struggles by changing the external circumstances. The key to lasting change is understanding that everything starts with you. Your thoughts, your mindset, and your beliefs. No internal change can fix those internal battles unless you address them directly. Take my journey as an example. I have tried everything, changing jobs, moving to a new city, even starting new health routines. At one point, I thought that if I just made those external changes, things would finally click. But every time I would hit a wall, I would get excited at first. But then I'd find myself falling back into old habits, and the changes would stop permanently. I remember a specific time when I decided to switch jobs, hoping it would solve my satisfaction. I thought a new environment, a new role, and finally I feel fulfilled. But guess what? The same struggles follow me. The world still felt empty, and I still struggle with my sense of purpose. I would change my diet, exercise routines, but those two would only work for a short period. Why? Because I wasn't addressing what was going on inside me. It wasn't the job or the city or the diet that was the problem. It was my mindset, my internal beliefs that were holding me back. Once I realized this, everything started to shift. Self-awareness is key here. If you don't understand why you are the way you are, why you react to situations the way you do, why you keep making the mistakes, then you will keep repeating the same behaviors. Think about the pattern you have noticed in your life. How often do you find yourself falling into the same traps, repeating the same mistakes or facing the same challenges? We all do it. It's human nature. But the problem arises when we don't stop to question why these patterns are happening. You have to get brutally honest with yourself. Ask yourself the hard question. What's really holding me back? What beliefs do I have about myself that are limiting my potential? Why do I fall into the same negative patterns over and over again? What are the deep-seated fears or insecurities that prevent me from making real change? And most importantly, what do I need to change inside to break free these destructive cycles? Self-awareness is more than just recognizing that you have a problem. It's about digging deeper to understand where that problem stems from. It's not enough to say I'm bad at this or I can't do that. Instead, start asking why. What's the root cause of that thought, that action, that fear? When you start looking at your internal world in this way, you can begin to understand what needs to shift. Now let's talk about mindset, because this is everything. The way you perceive the world and how you see yourself and how you interpret challenges and setbacks. This all plays a huge role in your ability to make lasting change. Let me ask you, how do you view yourself? Do you see yourself as someone who is capable of growth and change? Or do you believe that your abilities and your qualities are fixed, set in stone? If you have a fixed mindset where you believe your abilities are predetermined and that you cannot change, you are going to struggle. You will shy away from challenges because you will think, why bother? I'm not good enough anyway. You will see failures as proof that you are not capable. And the fear of failure will hold you back from trying new things. On the other hand, if you adopt a growth mindset, everything changes. With a growth mindset, you will see challenges as opportunities. You welcome them because you know that they help you grow and become stronger. You don't see failure as something to fear, but as something to learn from. It's in those failures that you will find the lessons that push you forward. When things get tough, instead of quitting, you push through because you know that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Think about the times you have failed in the past. If you had a fixed mindset, you probably got discouraged, right? You probably thought, I will never get it, or I'm not cut out for this. But what if instead you embrace those moments with the mindset that failure is a part of the process? What if you saw each challenge as a stepping stone towards success? Your mindset is what will keep you going when things get tough. It will give you the strength to keep moving forward, even when everything feels like it's falling apart. Developing a growth mindset is not easy. It requires a lot of work and persistence. And once you begin to see setbacks as opportunity for learning, everything shifts. You start to approach challenges with excitement, not fear. And that makes all the difference when it comes to long-term success. So remember, if you want lasting, meaningful change, you must address the root causes. Don't fall into the trap of focusing on surface level fixes that only give you temporary results. Dig deep into the emotional triggers, the beliefs, the fears, and the patterns that are keeping you stuck. Once you tackle those, you will find that the change you are seeking will become inevitable and it will last. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it's something you can start right now. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or hoping that things outside of you will magically improve. Real change begins with you, your mindset, your habits, and your willingness to understand what's really holding you back. It's about sticking with the process, even when it's tough, and trusting that every step you take brings you closer to the life you want to build. So take a moment to reflect. Think about the changes you want to see in your life and ask yourself, are you truly ready to make the change? If the answer is yes, then don't wait. Start today, no matter how small the step. You just need to start because real change starts within and it starts with you. Thank you for watching, and remember, it's not about achieving perfection. It's about making progress. Keep going, keep growing, and I will see you in the next video.